Welcome to T Boys TV. We are back again with another Hat Show, see episode 236. And in this one, we will be discussing another away defeat of the season. And then obviously, we'll be getting into another, massive away game. A lot of people saying it's make or break. And it really is now. It is literally that or bust. That is how I see it now. In previous weeks I've been saying, "Oh, this game's the game." Like Plymouth at home, for example. Do you know what I mean? But this really is it now because if it keeps getting worse and worse, it's just going to be a mountain to climb. And in the end, it's going to be too much of an ask. Obviously, we'll get into that. But first of all, Dad, before we get into anything, how are you? You doing good?
Yeah, fine. Yeah, not too bad.
Good, good. Big up to everyone that was waiting before we went on. Do obviously smash the likes as well as you enter and all of that. But yeah, let's get into it. So Burnley going into the game. I mean, I said a defeat, a 2-0 defeat. I thought it'd be one of them games where their quality would just shine through. Especially given their home form as well. You look at our away form. How dire it is throughout the season. Um, but like I said, when ironically, and obviously we'll get into it, of course, but when Naismith's in the team, in a lot of games for the remainder of the season, maybe bar Leeds, I probably don't see us conceding more than 2 goals. But obviously you got the red card, which was a turning point. But before we get into any of that, the lineup, so we had Kaminsky in goal, of course. Bell, Naismith, Wakoso. Good to see, especially when you look at that lineup at first, taking away what actually happened in the game. It was good to see them, back three because they were good. Makoso, it was good to see that he was still in. Obviously, there was a few shots to put McGuinness in, but didn't quite happen. Obviously, you had Doubt in the left, Jones on the right, Asgard, Clark, and Walsh. Obviously, we know Clark is playing through injury as well. On top of that, and then the front two was people's, you know, sort of worry, I guess. It was Nelson and Elijah. I mean, I was happy to see, when the lineup dropped Nelson, that he's actually playing up front because that is actually what he is, a striker. Since he's played in the main team, the first team and stuff, taking away the youth teams and that, he's not really been up front. He's been in all sorts of positions, whether that's out wide or in central midfield at times. So it was good to see that. Obviously, we didn't get to fully experiment it with how the game went. And then obviously Elijah, a lot of people had their doubts because how he's been, just naturally throughout this season. And then as for the bench, we had Ali, Anderson, Bowler, Brown, Lamine, Krul, McGuinness, Morris, and Lauder. So, I get the rotation with the strikers a little bit. I'd much rather go Brown than one of them, probably, looking at the lineup, just because, obviously the bigger game is tomorrow for us. But I don't know, when you base it on their form, like I say, Nelson not actually really playing up front for us at first is a bit of a worry. To be honest, where we're going to get the goals in this type of game, especially the fact on top of that they don't really concede, as we know. I think it's 10 throughout the season in the league anyway. So it was always going to be a bit of an ask, but other than that, it was it was a lineup you'd have been happy with, right? Dad?
Yeah, it was surprising to see Nelson up front, but it's obviously because he's resting a couple in it for 3 game week. And yeah, pretty much expected. I mean that if we had that back three, kind of at the beginning of the season or after, we'd have went, wow, what's going on? You know what I mean? But Makoso's kind of proved himself a little bit. Naismith obviously did prove himself initially, and I don't know, Bell's sort of seems to be getting better with each game. Uh, and then the midfield was standard, what we expect. And, and obviously I went with Nordas, I think, and Morris, I think. But, Nordas has finished his season. He's had a whole season. So I thought it was the other way around. But, so yeah, he needs a bit of a rest and stuff. Do you know what I mean? So is what it is. But he's looked good in glimpses. So you can kind of see why we went with that. So yeah.
Yeah, and then moving on to the actual game, itself. The first talking point is obviously we might as well get into the red card, which was the turning point of the game because I think there was moments early on where we looked all right. considering, like I say, it's Burnley away, you haven't lost all season at home. It's a good moment. But then the yellow card, the first one probably isn't the yellow card, let's be honest. But then the thing that's annoying and frustrating a lot of fans, including myself, and I said it in the reaction, is the fact that you're on the yellow card. You're the experienced player. We've been singing your praises. He's done brilliant since he's come in, bar this game. You're on a yellow card. You're experienced. You know how you shouldn't be doing that. You're making it worse, already a mountain to climb than it already is. Because the approach that I felt we had to do against Burnley, was probably try and hit them on the counter because, you've seen this season when they play teams that sort of sit back, which we do quite a lot, they struggle to break them down. But that red card was the turning point, sixth yellow card of the season. It's just disappointing. When you look at that, the discipline levels, they're just not good enough this season, and it just sums us up really defensively as a whole, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's disappointing. I mean, the ref, I didn't think he was great. He was a little bit card happy, quick to get his cards out and that. Possibly the first one, maybe. I don't know. What don't help is, the way the players go down and that. And Burnley, know what I mean? Parker's teams are like that anyway, man. Do you know what I mean? But you shouldn't, the second time, you shouldn't really be, charging in. It wasn't a terrible tackle at all. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've seen tackles like that let go all day long in other games and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? It weren't that bad. It's just, when it's against you, it's against you. But that referee, I think, a bit of an ego. You know what I mean? He pissed me off anyway. But yeah, and that basically changed the game. And messed us up because other than that, we were looking compact, tidy and things like that. They were having to trying to break us down, but they weren't putting loads of pressure on like we've seen before. But it changed the game. Then Doughty's going to drop back. Jones is dropping back. It just takes any attacking stuff out of the game, and that that's disappointing. And then obviously we had to take a midfielder off and bring McGuinness on. So yeah, it changed the game. Simple as that.
Yeah, it did. And then from there on in, like I said, it's more of a mountain to climb than it already was. Like you say, McGuinness come on. Obviously, we sacrificed Walsh due to that. I do feel sorry for Walsh because he has been one of the better players in the recent weeks. He has been trying. He's had a few attempts at towards goal anyway. And you look at it and you think, well, we had to do it. But at the same time, it's just frustrating. Especially when, like I say, we've sung his praises. He does that. Like I said in the reaction, players like Makoso really should be showing them sort of players. Do you know what I mean? Like what it's sort of about and using that experience. But he didn't. And then from there and in, like say, mountain to climb, they were putting pressure on us. McGuinness own goal. I'm not going to be too critical of him. A lot of people saying on the first goal, the communication, between him and Kaminsky, but at the same time, they were putting the pressure on us, and it's an unfortunate own goal. It reminds me of last season when I think it was 2 games in a row where we had 2 own goals. In the sense of, and they were quite unlucky own goals. To be fair, it was sort of like that. I mean, McGuinness, he'd done a good header to clear it out for a corner not too long before that, and I thought he was all right in the game. Given what's happened, you can see, Naismith is since he's come in, he's just, I wouldn't say as a player, but just his leadership skills, he's just showing levels above everyone else, really at the back. I'm not going to count Makoso in that because he had what's that, 3 games. Do you know what I mean? But he's showing that experience, but there he just messed it up, and then from there on in, yeah, it was just a bit of domination really from Burnley, and they didn't really, in my opinion, they didn't really feel phased at times. It sort of felt like a lot of away games, really. Like Sunderland, Leeds, and again, yes, they're the better teams, but like I said, guys, at the start of the season, in the reaction, I said it, we should have been competing with them guys. Do you know what I mean? And that's the frustrating thing. So, Yeah. What did you make of the first goal?
Just one of them, isn't it? But dangerous ball in the area. He was in front in a good position to clear. Just try to snatch it a little bit, or and that they happen, man. It's not even that deep communication, really. Um, if anything, maybe the defender next to him. I don't know if it was Mukosa or not. You wait for it. You should just leave it, and then they would have just been able to deal with it. But he's trying to be eager, he's trying to be keen, he's trying to clear it. It is what it is. Just one of them. Unlucky, and it weren't going to be. As soon as we got players sent off, it weren't going to be our afternoon at all. And it was a bit like that. I don't think it was a 4-0 game at all. There was a couple of situations in there where a couple of the goals possibly could have got chalked off. You know what I mean? And then we had that when we were trying to have a breakaway. Was it the second goal? No, that was the third goal, I think. The ref got in the fucking way, which was frustrating. And we've seen that a lot recently. Refs just getting in the way all the time, man. Just move, yeah. Like our players trying to take it out of defence. Like you're watching the game, but you still have to. You know what I mean? Fucking what are you, their defender? No, it pissed me off. But yeah, it's just unlucky that first goal. But he kept his head up, you know what I mean, and carried on,
Yeah, and you got to give him the credit. Obviously, tomorrow, as we know, it's a big game for every player for us, but especially him. Being obviously got him from Cardiff. Obviously, there was an interview that come out earlier today from the club. With McGuinness talking on the game and the season. But yeah, no, he did. Continue. It's one of them where I've said it about McGuinness. I feel in the future, he can definitely be a captain for us, and in that leadership conversation to take the armband for a few games, or maybe even take it permanently going forward. But yeah, it's one of them where look at, like you say, it was always going to be a long day. I was watching it and I was saying this thing. I was like, yeah, it's going to be long afternoon now. On top of that red card, and then obviously they got the second goal, like I say, big controversial. I mean, there was even a handball in it.
Well, yeah, that was the one. The ref got in the way. They slid tackle. It gave them time to that extra second to get a tackle in, and then it deflected off of my man's arm. Whatever. That probably would have been ruled out of VAR because his arm's out. You know what I mean? It controls it with his arm, whether it's half intentional or not. You know what I mean? Like, be clear on it. But that probably potentially could have ruled out. Didn't. But again, builds from stuff like that. There's no rubber to green on that, and some fucking idiot standing in the way pretty much caused that. But yeah.
Yeah, it's like I was saying on the vlog from home. The ref, get out of the way. Like you say, it's just frustrating. Like, why is he standing edge of the box? Like, why is he not further behind? It's stupid, really. But it's not even just us. I see it in all sorts of games. And it's just getting frustrating because it's like, what are they doing? And then, they have the moments where they give you a drop ball and then you want to get on with it quickly and then they blow the whistle to go back. Like, stuff like that, it does my nutting, to be honest. But again, like I said, in the match reaction, you can't really expect much, really, from English referees. They're shocking. From the Premier League to League Two to even lower. They're just so bad. And it's just frustrating because obviously, you look at the Premier League's most watched league, and you get flipping crap. Sometimes corruption as well in it. It's just so bad. And in Championship, most entertaining league, you would say, because there's so much to play for. And you just see crap, and it's just frustrating, really. But, yeah, 2-0, at half time, we're looking at it, we're thinking, well, I guess let's just try and get the goal difference down. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Brownhill, who did score the last time we played each other at Turf Moor in the Championship. I was at that game. It was a good goal from him. He scored in this game. I mean, he started it, passing it out to Edwards, who then obviously managed to play it back into him when he was in the box. And again, good build-up play from Burnley, but from us, defensively poor yet again. Just not even watching him go into the box, really. And it was a simple goal for a player of that quality. I said it even many years ago when we played him. I said, he's definitely worthy of playing in the Premier League, and he is a quality player. And it's so in it as well in the vlog from home. When I was talking about the lineups when they come out, he is the player we've got to watch out for. People would have said elsewhere, higher up the pitch, but he makes everything click in that team, and that was the nail in the coffin, for sure. You'd probably say the red card was anyway, but just to confirm it with the goals on top of that, that was the one for me, which, I felt they were going to get another one after that, and I said it at the time, and they did. So frustrating that just defensively yet again, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the third goal, the ball looked like it went out, and then the players are calling for it. Do you know what? Like, some of it, I think the way they've reacted to certain decisions this season is because they got so used to VAR. Do you know what I mean? So it's in the back of your mind, and you're like, oh, shit, no, it's not, like no one's no. We're playing away, you're playing against one of the top teams at home. Referees and that don't give a shit what anyone says. Linesmen, the fourth officials, they shit themselves when they're at the big clubs and that. They're under pressure and they don't want to. You know what I mean? Draw out these controversial decisions. It looked like it went out. You're right. No, what annoys me as well is like I don't know why they can't do it with these things, but you can tell that the ball's gone up the whole way over the line. Yeah, the technology's there. So why isn't it all across that line? I understand that. You know what I mean? So that should be implemented as well. But we just sort of went, nah, it's out. Again, Bell was involved in that, and he was involved in the last goal, out of position, running back. He's not really going to blame. He's out of position. We know he's not all, but defend it like going forward and that, and just playing a simple ball and that, and maybe he's not too bad. Defending under pressure, no, and it made them look better than what they were, because at times I think in the second half we was playing some decent getting out of defence with some nice slick passing, and looking more sort of, you can see the quality more than you could before, if that makes sense. I know we still lost ultimately, but under Edwards we didn't really see the quality of some of these players. Do you know what I mean? Whereas you're kind of seeing it a bit more. New signings have definitely helped, but it is what it is. If we'd have lost 1-0 and they'd have had 100, you know what I mean, like bare shots, hit the post 3 times, and we just played absolutely diabolical, then that you'd still take. You'd be like, oh well, what I mean, it's Burnley. What do we expect? But we didn't at times. In the second half, but then teams take their foot off the gas. They know they don't need to. Is that as well? But we still showed some brightness where we could. Certain players weren't too bad considering where they were playing and stuff like that. You just got to move straight on to tomorrow's game, innit?
Yeah, like I said, obviously that is the bigger game, as we all know. But yeah, just on that second half and the subs, like you say, yeah, the subs, they were all right, to be fair. The ones that come on, Brown, Halley, Bowler, they were the main 3 for me that were decent. Obviously McGuinness was early on, so I don't really count that. And what I will say, the Lamine Mark, I sort of get it to try and not concede more, but I think sometimes we put a bit too much expectation on him, to be honest. But yeah, it was one of them where it was just like, it's just a matter of time. And the fourth one, we've conceded a lot of goals like that this season, where we've had a corner or we've been running forward at a team, and then we lose possession and then they score. And that is literally what the fourth goal was like. Barnes, it all started from obviously Asgard's corners, and I'll be honest, at this moment in time, I do not want to see him take corners again. I'll be honest. And I thought, other than Doughty's cross in the first half, which then led to 2 corners, I thought that was the only good cross really in the game. 2 after that, especially for a player of his quality, they're struggling to get to the front post, and it was just annoying, really. Especially when that is one of our strong points, but ultimately the red card was the turning point, as we all know. and yeah, it was simple as that. But getting into the player ratings, still obviously get involved in the comments as well. Kaminsky, again, a few people, blaming him for the first goal of communication. I'm not going to be too harsh on him, or anything like that. But I've obviously seen better, from him. We did concede 4, so I can't go too high. Kaminsky, I'll go 5.5.
Yeah, 5.5. Same.
Moving on to Makoso. I thought he was all right. Not as good as the last couple of games, but I still felt he was all right in moments. So I'd just give him 6.
Yeah, same.
Naismith, well, flipping hell. I'm going to be honest, guys. I'm going to give him, like I say, the first one, the yellow card, I don't think was a yellow, I'll be honest. But to do that, play your experience, frustrating. I'm going with a 3.
I'll give him a 4.
Fair enough. Bell, right, what I was going to say on Bell is driving forward, he was quite good at in this game. But like you say, that then defensive moment, he's not good enough. Especially when Naismith's not there. He looks like a completely different player, like in not a good way. And I think that was shown, especially defensively. So for me, Bell, 5.5.
Yeah, same.
Moving on to Jones. Obviously, what didn't help is, I've said it, I want to see Jones run at players more, but that red card that Naismith got didn't help that. So then he had to defend more, and he's not really a defensive minded player. I know he can play as a wing back, but there was a few moments where it's shown that he's not so great there, basically. So for me, I'm not going to be too harsh on him. I'll give him a 6.
I'll give him a 6.5. I thought he'd work, consider he had to do that. He does work hard. And he'll get in your face. He did do some different tough tackles and that. So I'll give him 6.5.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And then moving on to Doughty on the other side, like I said, other than that one cross, I'll be honest, for 100th appearance and all, that was not a great performance from Doughty. So for me, I'm going 5.5.
I'll give him a 6. Again, he was highly frustrated. This is not the sort of game that he wants to be in. Down to 10 men after 12, and that puts him on the back foot. He still tried to work hard, but it's not where we need him. So I'll just give him a 6.
Fair enough. Moving on to Asgard. Obviously, he's a new signing. He's still got to adapt to that. But I'd say the last couple of games, especially since Sheffield United at home, he hasn't really been seen as much. He's been a bit ghost. Like I say, the crosses, not great, let's be honest. But that's what you don't want him to do anyway. You want him to be taking pop shots or even being edge of the box for corners, and stuff like that, because we know he's got a great shot on him. In this game, like I say, not so great. I'm going with another 5.5.
I'll give him a 6. I think you obviously see the ability there, and toughness and that, and but when all your other corner takers are off the pitch, I think it was just left to him, and obviously we can see that he's not great at it. So that is what it is. But he's still a starter for me. I'll give him a 6. To me, balance in the midfield, I think.
Moving on to the next player, we'll go over to Clark. Obviously, as we all know, has come out, he's playing through injury, so credit to him to still, continue to play. Obviously, not as good as the last game, but he was one of the better players, I would say. Did get a yellow card, but he was getting stuck in. He was trying, and I thought he was one of the better ones, I'd say. So for me, I'll go 6. Clark.
Yeah, I'll give him a 6.
Moving on to Walsh. Again, difficult with a red card because he can't really do what you want him to do. Hold on the ball. He had to come off. So I'll just have to go over 6. Yeah. And then moving on to the strikers, Nelson again hard because you wanted to see him up front. Have that experiment, but it didn't quite work out. So again, we're going to sit there with another 6. I mean, when he would come deeper, there was a few decent moments, good touches and that, which we know he's good at. But yeah, unfortunately, we didn't see it right there.
Yeah, after 12 minutes, he had to go kind of midfield, didn't it? So it just stopped his game as well, which is unfortunate, I think, for him. But he did show it. So quite a few nice touches in that. I'll give him a 6.
Yeah. And he has done that throughout the season. Okay, no, I don't know what's going on. Moving on to the next player, Elijah. For me, he was better in the game, actually, to be fair. Obviously, considering there's a lot of criticism, that he was starting, he actually done all right at times. There was a moment where he got fouled, actually. He done well to get out of it. I think he ran past maybe one or two players, maybe even more. Got the free kick. That was decent. There was decent patches from him. So, for me, I'll go 6.5, actually, for Elijah.
Yeah, I'll give him a 6.5, considering all the slack he's been getting. And this game, his head could have dropped, but he worked as hard as he could, considering the circumstances. So, you've got to be, you can't really grumble about that, can you? So yeah, 6.5.
Yeah, McGuinness, I'll just go with 6.
Yeah,
He got an own goal, but he was still trying after that, and before that, he'd done a good header to clear it. He wasn't terrible. Lamine, I'm just going to go with 6, another 6, I reckon, for him. And then Brown, I'm going to go with Brown. I'm going to go with a 6.5. Obviously, he had 2 good chances. The first one, looking back at it, it was a bit difficult for him to really try and put it round the keeper, I'd say, in that sort of position, where Trafford obviously saved it. And the other one he had, I would say, was his better chance, where he maybe should have done a little bit better on the bowl across, but he was trying, and he was sort of like that in a way, not obviously with the chances, but in the sense of, trying to get involved, like in the Watford away game. He was sort of like that then as well. And I think, personally, obviously we get into lineups, but I think for me, he should warrant a start. And I did keep him in for this game anyway. But yeah, I think that is proven really. When it comes to that, so Brown, I go 6.5.
I'll just give him a 6. I thought, he's working hard. He's trying to cause problems and that, but sometimes you just need him to be more effective.
Yeah, I mean, it's about taking them chances, isn't it? And that's what the strikers have struggled to do, really, especially him and Elijah throughout the season at times. Majority of the season, it's just every now and then, really, which we need it to be more consistent, of course. And then moving on to Ali. Ali was quite good, when he come on. The ball at his feet, he was driving forward. He was causing quite a threat, really. I think he gave us quite a few corners as well when we did have a bit of a spell in the second half. So, yeah, Ali was all right. I'll go the. You know what? I'll go another 6.5.
Yeah, 6.5 for him and 6 for Bowler. And
Yeah, so,
the Naismith, actually got sent off in the 19th minute. We kept saying 12 and that, but the first tackle was on 12 minutes, and then it was a few minutes later. You know what I mean? In reality, so. But yeah, I'll just give Ali and Bowler. They look Ali's particularly. He must be pushing to come on earlier than, he did in this game for Doughty, and I thought he'd done all right, but I don't know. Let's see if he fits anywhere else in the team, because he's got good ability to get past players, and yeah. And then Bowler, come on forward, nearly create a couple of chances and that. Always looking to get on the front foot. So I'll give them both 6.5.
yeah, like I say, and it's a difficult one for Bowler because it's like, with the way we play at the moment with the 3 at the back, it's sort of like, well, where does he sort of fit in, really? And that's
The thing is that is being said, and that, what, he's plays in the same position as Jones, and Jones, so he could play. There is there, but obviously we prefer Jones. You know what I mean? He was the main signing, and he's not done too bad. But sometimes I think maybe it might be worth switching it up. But we're not the managers, and we don't see like all that in the training, do we? So we can only go with what we see, basically.
Yeah, and my worry, if we did, obviously I don't think it will happen, but if we did put Bowler there, is obviously, his other sort of positions are obviously wingers and winger and in right midfield. And, you look at it and you think, well, that's obviously higher up. Jones does have a bit of, as we know when he was at Middlesbrough, a bit of a pedigree at being a wing back. Bowler's more higher up and someone you want to put higher. So hopefully, especially tomorrow, hopefully we see a change in formation because I think we need it. If Naismith being out, obviously a couple of Reece Burke's going to be on the bench. That's come out today. So you look at it, you've got the same amount of cover you had in defence anyway. Basically, Naismith out, Burke in, sort of thing. But if you're going to put the back three, I just think without Naismith, I just think you're asking for trouble. Personally, it don't matter who you're playing, in my opinion. That's just how I see it. So yeah, right. Getting into the game though against Cardiff. So obviously, when it comes to that, actually, quickly before I do that, the points obviously is now 20-16 to me. Obviously, I gained a point saying a Burnley victory. Obviously, none of the match we haven't given it to anyone. But if I was to give it to someone, probably one of the subs in Ali or Brown. Probably Ali, to be fair, but obviously I ain't quite done that. Same with you, Dad. But yeah, getting into the game against Cardiff. So we take on Cardiff Tuesday night. Obviously, earlier on in the season when we played them, that was also a midweek game. Did beat them 1-0. I mean, overall, the main talking point from that game was the Doughty injury, unfortunately. Did win the game. Obviously, Brown scored in the game to separate the two sides. But I remember in that game, Cardiff, when they did have chances, they were so poor. It was so poor. It sort of reminded me of when we played Portsmouth. It was quite a similar game, really, in that sense. Obviously, a better first half performance in the Portsmouth game, but similar in the sense you score. When they had chances, they just messed them up, sort of thing. But going into it, obviously, as we know, people saying it is another sort of 6-pointer like when we played Plymouth at home. Obviously, if we did get a result, we would be 2 points behind Cardiff. But again, it's frustrating now, guys, because then you're hoping other teams don't do stuff like Hull, Stoke, obviously Derby are in that. Plymouth obviously behind us. Potentially Oxford, but I think they'll be all right. I think from there on in, everyone else is going to be all right for sure. But yeah, obviously, if Cardiff did get a win, they could actually go up to 19 above Hull, depending on what they do, and obviously depending on what Stoke do as well in their games. But more insight going into it. Cardiff have lost each of their last 2 home league games against Luton Town and will be looking to avoid losing 3 in succession to the Hatters for the first time. Luton Town have won each of their last 4 league games against Cardiff City, 3 of which have come via a 1-0 scoreline. Cardiff City suffered their first home league loss of 2025 against Burnley in their last such match. They've scored in each of their previous 7 games on the home soil. Luton have won 4 of their last 5 league trips to Wales, losing 1. Though their only defeat, obviously, was when we played Swansea this season, 2-1 in December. And then Cardiff's Callum Robinson has been involved in 5 goals in his last 4 home league starts for the Bluebirds, 4 goals, 1 assist. And, you look at their goal scorers this year, Callum Robinson scoring in the last game, which was against Hull. Well, sorry, not the last game, but when he got 12 goals against Hull, you look at everyone else in their team. I think the closest to him is like on 4 goals. So if anyone's probably going to score, it probably will be him. But a bit more on Cardiff going into it. They made a bright start to 2025, starting the new year with an unbeaten run of 8 games in all competitions. The good form came to a halt when league leaders Leeds put 7 past the Bluebirds at Ellen Road, but they have stayed strong on home soil. Their loss against Burnley last week was their first defeat at Cardiff City Stadium in 2025, like I say, with the Derby Day thrashing the Swansea City being a highlight of the run. And like I say, Callum Robinson obviously got 12 goals so far. Obviously, when we last played at Cardiff, we completed back-to-back wins in Wales as a whole. Luke Freeman and Gabe Osho got the goals to secure the victory. Obviously, won earlier at Swansea that month as well. So I remember that period actually really good. And I think our records were quite poor at both of them grounds, or at least one of them it was, and we looked really good. And I remember rightly, the Swansea one might have been I think it might have been the 2-0 maybe, when Morris got his first goal for us. If I'm right in saying that, obviously correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but I'm pretty sure it was. But the official for this game, now, there was something you said to me after that that you were going to say regarding the last official last week in the sense of the red cards. This one has not given out any red cards. Are we going to get our 7th red card? Hopefully not.
Nah.
I hope not. I just thought I'd ask the question.
Never know, but that, no.
But it is Andy Davis, 8 yellow cards, and like I say, no red cards. He's had 21 games this season. Just 7 of his 21 games have not been championship games. We last had him, though, and there was a bit of controversy in the game. When we actually went to QPR in January, obviously that was Rob Edwards' last game, when they had that goal, which some people said it was a handball, some people said it's not, on their goal, Fry, that goal. So there is that controversy in the past when it comes to that. So we'll see how this goes. But again, you can't expect anything from these officials. Like I say, they're just dire, but some are just worse than others. Simple as that. But after saying all of that, Dad, I mean, the stats I read out are pretty good records that we have, but they have done well at home this year. So how are you feeling going into this one?
We have to fight. Do you know what I mean? It is a must-win game. Potentially, we could be like 8 points from safety. That's 3 wins in the last whatever games, 9. Just to even get in touch with people and hope that they lose. Do you know what I mean? I think if we lose this game, we're pretty much down. We're down. As simple as that. And then they'll come. Say we still try and fight this, that, and the other, but you're just waiting for it to be mathematically impossible, really. See, you've got to be looking at the change you're going to make. Well, the players already know it's done to a certain extent. Although, we're Luton and we do sort of like, giving people a little bit of hope and then taking it back sometimes. So I think this might be one of them games, personally. Got a good record. McGuinness played against them last time, didn't he? Got that win. I think, he'll perform well. I'd expect him to be starting this game. I'd be surprised if he's not. And we've just got to go there and scrape and fight and try and get something. And that's what I reckon we might do.
Yeah, like I say, it is literally it now. I do feel that, and I mean, like I said, guys, it's sort of right now. I am feeling like how I felt towards the end of last season, how we felt as fans with the Premier League, where the games are just sort of, like I say, petering out. You sort of think to yourself, well, like you said, Dad, if we don't get something tomorrow, you sort of feel, well, mathematically, you're sort of waiting until that. And that I'll be honest, right now, that is how I'm feeling. If we get something tomorrow, obviously that might change a little bit, but again, it won't fully change for me personally, just because of the consistency which we haven't seen throughout the season. And that is the worrying thing for me. I mean, about getting into it too much, obviously, then we've got Middlesbrough on a weekend, and I mean, you don't really know what Middlesbrough turn up. We do have, in recent years, a good record against them at home, but I don't know, man. It's it's not really easy and ideal, is it really? But we'll go through some comments before we get into the lineup. Big up to everyone inside. Big up to Paul. Good evening, lads. Big up to yourself, mate. David's sort of feeling like how I am at the moment. I've no words other than we're done. Just looks like they've faced it and given up. Yeah, I mean, some players, are showing all right, but it's just as a team collectively, it's just not there, and that has been the problem. When it comes to that, big up to Lewis inside as well. Sunderland's goal versus Hull MKM. It's a rather joke when that happens. Yeah, I remember watching that game. Yeah, it was stupid, really. High Tide does not a good game to listen to when you have a hangover. Although went for a draw, I had no expectations for that game. Yeah, I mean, obviously I said a defeat. I thought it'd be a bit closer. But yeah, it's one of them minute really. When it comes to that. Big up to Spencer as well. He says hello to everyone. Big up to yourself, mate. But yeah, moving on to the lineup going into this game. So as for me, my lineup in this game, I have actually gone with a change in formation. Now, I don't know if we'll do it, but like I say, I just have my worries if we don't with Naismith not being available, especially with the defence anyway. I would like to see, and I know you've mentioned it, Dad, a 4-4-2, but I just can't see us doing that, unfortunately. So I've gone with this, which I think is more of a chance. So obviously Kaminsky in goal, he's going to stick in goal. People still saying Shea. Shea was literally on a commentary against Burnley. And fair play, by the way, he was all right on that, but he's not getting nowhere near the team, guys. Yeah, let's just stop this. It's not happening. Walters, I'm going to put Walters in now. Obviously, he was in the development game, the under-21s, shall I say, the day before we played. But I just feel we need that more sort of cover. Obviously, if Hashioka was available, I'll be honest, I'd like to put him over Walters because Walters defensively has had their moments where he's not been so great. But it also means, as you can see, I'll put Jones higher up so he can, do that sort of what he's better at, which is driving at players and trying to get past them and stuff. Bell on the left, I'm going to stick with Bell sort of as a left back. It's not really, I don't want to put Doughty there. So yeah, I'm going to go with Bell. McGuinness, he should definitely be in. He will be in, unless, obviously, touch wood, he gets some injury in the warm up. Makoso, I'll stick with him. There is maybe a shout for Anderson. Obviously, Burke's going to be on the bench. Like Bloomfield said, but I'm going to stick with Makoso. Like I say, he weren't terrible last game. He just weren't as much of a standout as the previous games. I'm going to go Lamine now. That could be a bit risky, because, you look at last time we played him in that sort of position, it was Sunderland away. And obviously, we know he weren't great in that game. But obviously, Nakamba being out, I sort of do want that cover in a way. As much as we need to go for it and, win this game, really, I sort of want the cover there. I don't want to put Clark there because then you're limiting him. And like we said, when you have him further back, it's not really ideal. So that's why I've gone with that. And then, like I say, Jones and Doughty, I'll keep Doughty in, for his 101th game it'll be. And then I've gone Walsh. I have put Asgard to the bench, and it was difficult doing this because I had the choice really of Clark, Walsh, and Asgard. But obviously, I've kept Walsh in. I feel, obviously he come off early as well on top of that. So, he will be raring to go sort of thing. Asgard, I think maybe, bring him on in this game. And then Clark, again, obviously he's out for injury. So, sort of put him on the bench like we did against Watford. But this time I want to see him come on at some point. And then up front, I think, like most people have gone with, probably maybe Morris and Ali instead. But I've gone Morris and Brown for this game. Morris, he didn't feature against Burnley at all. So he'll be raring to go. We rested him for this game. And then Brown, like I say, he showed them good moments. He just needs to take a chance. But don't forget as well, he did score against Cardiff last time. So, some players have good records against certain teams. So hopefully that can be it for Brown. So that's my lineup when it comes to it. Moving on to your lineup, Dad. There you go.
So I have gone with a 4-4-2. We definitely need four at the back. Mine, Kaminsky, Bell. I brought Anderson in. They've played together. McGuinness. Well, was it McGuinness and Anderson? I think they have. Yeah, and they haven't done too bad. Anderson, he's played in that position more. I can't see us really going with anyone else. And I've put Makoso there to the left. I think he could definitely play there. I think, and I'd rather him there than Walters. So that's the four at the back for me. And then Doughty, Jones goes without saying. I kept Asgard in, so I think he does settle the midfield more. And Clark, if he doesn't, I'll put him in. But if he doesn't start because he's come out and he come off 59 minutes, then you replace him with Walsh. And then surprisingly, some people have gone with the best two strikers at the club who really need to be stepping up and fighting. And Morris, I know, will start anyway. And after Elijah's fight in the last game, I'd still think he kind of gets the nod. So yeah, I'll put them two up front.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Obviously, there was them moments, especially the Sheffield Wednesday game, where we saw McGuinness and Anderson play quite well together. So, he might go with that. Obviously, Bloomfield does like Anderson as well. He come out and obviously said that when he first joined, he rates him highly and stuff. So it could very well be that when it comes to that partnership. And yeah, I do want to see a 4-4-2. At some point, because it's sort of like what Reece Burke said. Even when we played Sheffield United early in the season, sort of back to basics. It is one of the basic, sort of formations, isn't it? That does work for teams, and it still means we can have two up front as well. On top of that, and then it gives players like Jones a bit more of luxury and freedom to go forward and create moments. Really, sort of like I just want to see him up there and doing what he done against Watford, for example. That is what I want to see. And if you've got someone there with, that's more defensive minded, obviously you've got Makoso for this. I went with Walters. It's just better for him, I feel, in that sense. So we shall see. But moving on to that time, obviously, like I say, it is basically make or break, all or nothing, whatever you want to call it. God, are we going to win this game?
Oh, I just think that, barring any sendings off in the first 20 minutes, or some kind of nonsense, the performance has got to be there. I'm sure it will be there, because Cardiff, they're not great. Do you know what I mean? Like they've let in as many goals as we have, so the chance is there. In the back of their mind, a bit of pressure on them, thinking, a couple of wins and we'll be safe and that. But it's not going to be easy for them. But yeah, we've got a good record there. Let's make it 3 in a row. Let's go there, smash and grab 1-0.
Which, like I read out earlier, we do like a 1-0 against them. In the recent games, obviously, that's what it was at Kenilworth Road. As for me, unfortunately, I think it's going to be similar to the Plymouth home game in the sense of, people going into it saying it's sort of a must-win. Obviously, more so for us going into this game, whereas the Plymouth, it's sort of for both of us, or more them, it's must not lose, really. Whereas us, it's not lose at all, really. Just try and go out for the win. Obviously, we didn't unfortunately do that. So based on everything I've said there, I'm going to go with what it was in that game, which was a 1-1. I do think we can definitely score against them. I just worry about us defensively a little bit, like I have throughout the season, and our away record as a whole. We know it's quite dire, as we know. Only Plymouth, the only team with a worse record. So for me, I'm going to say a 1-1 draw in this game. When it comes to that, other score predictions, Paul has gone with 2-1 to Luton. Jackie's gone 2-1 as well. Walsh and Morris to score. Your goal scorer, Bud, for us?
Elijah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say Brown starts, so I'll go Brown to score again against Cardiff. As for them, probably Robinson, let's be honest. Look at the gap between him and the others when it comes to the goals. So, yeah, that's what I think when it comes to that. And then Paul has gone with the same as Jackie, Morris and Walsh as well. And, yeah, I'd be happy to see Walsh score. Like I said, last couple of weeks, I do want to see it because, he is doing well. He's putting much more of a shift, and obviously he hasn't had them moments. And, you can tell he's trying for the team, and his range of passing, like I say, is one of the best in the team. I do feel that. So, yeah, that's that when it comes to that. But, Dad, any final things you want to say about anything before we wrap up?
Make or break in it, really. Just hope we can keep it going. Show a bit of fight at least. So, yeah.
Yeah, literally, and that's what we need to do in this game. And obviously, we've got loads of these games, sort of games, still, against these sides. But tomorrow, we really have to win because, like I say, you sort of, if you don't, you're giving yourselves even more of a mountain to climb. And again, I know I said the same thing when Naismith got a red card, and that was against Burnley. But this really is now. These are the teams around us. We have to start picking up. We've got obviously Cardiff, like I say, we've got Hull coming up away again. we've got good record against Hull overall, but I'm not too confident with us this year. You know, we have to turn it around, and it starts tomorrow. Still got Stoke away, Derby away. Them games you've got to be aiming to win, really. So yeah, that's everything when it comes to all of that. As for content and stuff, obviously there will be match reaction tomorrow, as always, like it has been in the last couple of weeks. A vlog from home as well, so obviously do check that out. And then as for the hat show, we'll do it all on one on Friday to get into this game. And yeah, let's just say if we don't get a result, guys, this is probably where we're going in the top right of the screen. Let's be honest. So we need to win the game. Yeah, simple as that, really. So yeah, that's that. Like I say, we do it Friday, and then from there on in, it'll probably be the same stuff, obviously match reaction and stuff like that. And then yeah, I'm still debating to go Hull, to be honest. If we do put in good performances next 2 games, then yeah, I probably will. But right now, no. So yeah, that's that. So yeah, big up to everyone. Smash a like, subscribe. Obviously, do follow me across all my socials. If not, do subscribe to the extra channel as well. And yeah, man, big up to everyone that did check out the match reaction and the recent load of content as well. And yeah, man, until tomorrow for me, Friday for my dad, we'll see you lot in a bit. Take care and peace.